Why do you struggle to succeed as a musician? And why is it so obnoxiously hard to make a lot of money from your music and grow a huge fan base? In this video, I'm giving you 5 eye-opening truths about why you struggle to succeed and give you simple ways to fix them. Hey, and welcome to Music Space. Here we help working musicians like you monetize their craft. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated when new videos are uploaded. Now, the first truth is not charging enough and lowballing just to get the gig. And this takes me back to the time when I did my first gig for a big name person. My band and I were playing a gig for a birthday party, and this big name person happened to be related to the people we were playing for. We were having a really great show, and on one of our breaks, this big name person approached us to tell us how great we sounded and how good we were at the party. And while telling us that, he also expressed interest in hiring us for an event. So I pulled him aside to speak more about it with him. And after explaining what the event was and what he wanted us to do, he asked that familiar question of, how much do you charge? And me wanting to impress him, I just blurted out, we charge $400, but we'd be willing to negotiate down to $300. And when I said that, I saw his raised eyebrow and like the disbelief in his eyes. And it was at that very moment that I realized the magnitude of this mistake I was making. Just to impress this person, I undervalued our talent and our hard work and offered him a price that didn't reflect our worth. I was practically giving away our passion and our talent for peanuts. So this big named person sort of just shook his head, not in disbelief, but more so like in pity. And he said to me, your music is worth more than you think, so don't sell yourself short. And I remember these words hit me like a lightning bolt, because he was right. I was selling us short. So the lesson here is, don't be afraid to ask for and demand what it is you deserve. Your passion, your talent, your hard work are worth every penny. Now, moving on to the next truth of why you struggle to succeed as a musician, perfectionism. Let me share with you a story that sort of intertwines undervaluing yourself and perfectionism. So around the same time as the story of the big name person I just told, someone that I know approached me about starting another band together. And we both, along with some of the other band members that were eventually added, wrote music. So the whole idea was to start a band and record an album. And it was cool because we immediately got into the studio and started recording some really great music. We had everyone from family and friends who heard the music tell us that it was great. And we even had some business execs that heard it that got interested in investing in us. But one person in the band wanted everything, all of our music, to be nothing short of flawless. So our studio sessions became like really rigorous, and we started recording and re-recording the same songs over and over, up to 7, 8, 9, and even 10 times. We weren't making any sort of money, and because this person wanted everything to be flawless, we weren't accepting gigs or anything like that. And so after a long while of all of that, the band just sort of broke up. And now all of that great music is just sitting on a hard drive somewhere. So the thing to get here is that you definitely have to strive for excellence, but not at the expense of getting things done. And this is what this whole perfectionism thing is about. It hinders us from getting so much done. This whole badge of perfectionism that we wear and say, oh, I'm a perfectionist, it keeps us stagnant. Now, the next truth of why you struggle to succeed as a musician is you don't think of it as a business. And I got a really big wake-up call about this on the first tour that I ever did. I was hired to play keyboards for a very well-known artist at the time. And the way that I got the tour is that I was playing a concert with a group, and this group was the opening act for this well-known person. And as fate would have it, he heard us performing and really liked the way that we sounded. So after the show, a bunch of us were, of course, trying to meet him and get autographs and stuff like that. And when he saw us, myself and the other musicians, he actually invited us into his green room. And when we got in there, he told us that he was looking to hire a new band to go on tour with him, and he asked for our contact information. And this was like a dream come true for us. So like a few weeks later, he called us, me and the other musicians, and offered us the job of touring with him. And then to make things even better, he expressed interest in managing us and helping us get other tours with other artists. So when we talked to him, he asked us about what our goals were, what our marketing strategies were, what our overall business goals were. And those questions just kind of stunned me. And I was like, I don't really know. I mean, up until that point, I was just so consumed by becoming a great musician that I had never really thought too much about the business side of it. So we ended up going on tour with this artist for a few months, and he never spoke to us about any sort of management opportunities again. And in fact, once that tour was over, he never even reached out to us to speak to us about doing anything else again. And reflecting on this, I decided to adopt a business mindset, and I learned to view what it is that we do as musicians as a product. And the results of that have been nothing short of remarkable. I've been able to grow a huge fan base. I've made lots more money from gigs. I've been able to charge more for gigs. I learned to negotiate deals and stuff better, and I've learned to protect my interests as an artist, as a musician myself. So the lesson here is you really need to adopt a business mindset if you want to be successful. Now, this next truth as to why you struggle to succeed as a musician is going to hit you like a hammer, and that is your location. So before I moved to the city that I lived in now, I lived in a much smaller city. And in that city, I was a big fish in a small pond, so to speak. I had played and performed at every single venue in that area that offered live music. I had played with pretty much every musician in that area, and most of the musicians around there looked to me for guidance. There was just generally not a lot of stuff that happened there in that city musically that didn't get offered or passed through me first. And all this was cool for a while, but with all of that, the pay was really low and the bar for overall achievement was just not really high at all. Like, there was just not a lot of musicians there that was looking to do anything beyond what that city offered. And that's not to say anything negative about them. That was cool for them. But the fact of the matter is, with all of that, none of the bands, none of the musicians were ever hired to do anything close to major at all. So I had a close friend in the city where I live now, and when I spoke to him at the time, he would tell me about how things and people were different there, and how, some musicians there were making upwards of thousands of dollars per gig and for church gigs and all of this kind of stuff. And so I came to the realization that the people that were around me and my physical location, the city that I was in, was hindering me from growing and keeping me stagnant. And so I took a risk and I moved to the newer city, and it has made all the difference. Within the first 6 months, I was making more money from gigs than I had ever made. I've played at more prestigious places, and I've been able to establish a business and make myself into a product around what I do. None of which I would have been really able to do, at least to any significant degree, in the previous city that I lived in. So the thing to get here is that you really need to consider your location and the people around you, and you may need to be willing to move to a different area if you want to achieve the success that you want. Now, the next truth is a really big one, and that is lack of support. So from the very first time that I played or performed on an instrument in public, I've had people rooting me on and telling me how great I was and, getting on my team, so to speak. And of course, I've had what you call haters and detractors along the way, but it hasn't been anything major. And literally all through middle school, high school, and college, I was lucky enough to have family and friends who really believed in me and supported me. They came to my gigs, and they would even help me load in and load out my equipment. And some of them would even sit and listen to me practice music for hours on end. But they would also call me out if I was falling off or slacking in some way. In reflecting on this, I've come to realize how valuable it is having a support system when it comes to success. I realized that the support I received caused me to believe in myself, and it gave me confidence and determination and resilience to go further and achieve the success that I wanted. And in working with other musicians, I realized that there is a huge difference between those who have a support system and those who don't when it comes to success. The ones who have a strong support system tend to always go a lot further, a lot faster, and get to the success that they want. Now, can you achieve success without having a support system? Absolutely. But the path to success can be really hard. And having a strong support system in place can mean the difference between you falling off and not getting there and you actually getting to that point of success. So the lesson here is that to be successful, you really need to surround yourself with people who believe in you, who will support you, and you need to keep those people involved in your path to success. And having a support system even helps with things like having low self-esteem and fear of failure. And I've done some extremely valuable videos on those subjects, and you can go here and check those videos out right now.